There are very few film directors who can blend the three Ds, dating, disability, and diversity into one film, but film director Nathan Morris has done just that with My Eyes Are Up Here. My Eyes Are Up Here is the story of a disabled woman who sets off on a mission to get the morning after pill after a clumsy one-night stand. But this live-action short film will receive its New York premiere at the OSCAR-qualifying Tribeca Film Festival in Contention this June. Nathan Morris began his career making award-winning documentaries in New Zealand before moving to London and then New York to work in music, comedy, reality TV, directing, and writing, even for artists such as Rihanna and Lady Gaga. And we have actress and model Jillian Mercado with us as well. Many of you recognize her from the L Word, Generation Q, and many fashion magazines. Now diagnosed with spastic muscular dystrophy as a child, she believes her interest in fashion originated from her mother, a dressmaker, and her father, once a shoe salesman. Well, she brings her character to life in My Eyes Are Up Here as a model and wheelchair user, grounding the story further in authentic lived experience. Let's welcome film director Nathan Morris and actress Jillian Mercado and the incredible short film My Eyes Are Up Here to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Well, Nathan, let's just kick this off. What inspired you to create this multifaceted film?
Well, I read the script, the film, as you alluded to before. By the way, you should do PR for us. If you could just follow me around and just talk about me when I have a downward day, that would just be amazing.
Well, we can work that out.
Okay, great. The film comes from the headspace and the life, really, of Mindy Verdi. She's a writer who worked with a friend of mine called Arthur, and it's very much based on her real lived experience. I got to know Arthur. I managed to see the script, and I was like, please, 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 please let me make this. I love it. I connected so much with the character, and I just really loved it. So I kind of begged them to let me make it. So that's kind of how it started.
Well, I'm going to kind of direct this next question to both of you because honestly, I loved the film. The title is definitely a play on words, but there seems to be a much deeper meaning concerning this film. What is it?
Go, Jillian.
No, you want me to go? I think mostly it's about our humanized experience as living as someone with a visible disability or a disability for that matter. And how we have always viewed the world, but unfortunately how the ableist world has viewed our world, you know? So as far as like My Eyes Are Up Here, I saw it as like, I am here, I am present, I am with you in the same space, but you are choosing not to see me as a person. So that's the take I took from it.
And I actually picked that up in this film. And Nathan, I have to give you chops for the way that you have put this together and filmed it. But for you, what does this film mean?
I mean, I really wanted to make a romantic comedy. So, like you say, I think it works on two different levels. There is that, and that's something I could relate to, like having a rough time, a rough day, not on this level, but and being scared of letting someone into your life and your heart and maybe have a relationship. So it's great. It works on that level and the level that Jillian just spoke about. So yeah, to me, it's about a lot of different things, which I think is really great.
And we're gonna get into that now. Jillian, what was it about this script that got your attention to play Sonia?
Mostly I related a lot to her. We shared a lot of lived experiences that I, in my college days, probably had dabbled. But also I think because of her honesty and her way of viewing society is something that I related to a lot. Also, she just, wants to be seen, by everyone, wants to be respected, wants to be loved, but has this like barrier of strength and survival that I can relate to very much.
Yeah. When I was watching the film, and it's early in the film, when Ben Cura took the sign and laid it down so you could come out of the doorway, and the woman that came into the older woman that came into the scene, I thought was kind of funny because she treated you as a complete human being, but she looks at
Right.
the guy like, what is wrong with you? And I thought that was almost a reversed role in this film. Nathan, is that something you were going for?
Yeah, I mean, all the characters, because it was such a long development process with this, all the characters have these huge backstories, which you're probably like, why did you do that? But it really helps with the performances and stuff. So there's really her disregard and contempt, because that's actually, it's a mother-son relationship, and she just has contempt for him and just sees Sonia as a commodity, really, a model, a clothes hanger, someone. And so she, yeah, you're right. There's just this, like, she's this coldness to her, and she doesn't get it. And then she was just so appalled by the actions of last night when she discovers, and then that's a whole level of, oh, bit thick.
Exactly. Now I know both of you brought to light a subject that is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. People don't know how to react in the presence of someone with a disability. Um, with the title, Your Eyes Are Up Here, a lot of people instantly judge. They see the wheelchair, or maybe they see a deformity of some type, maybe someone with Down syndrome. But your film places us in Jillian's wheelchair, so to speak. Uh, was that part of the goal?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound funny, but I'm not sure if you watched the Great British Bake Off. They've had a couple of people with disabilities on that show, and they've never mentioned it. They've just talked about the cooking. They just get on with it. And so that was a very clear intent to just, it's a love story, but we happen to have a character with in a wheelchair. And then we see all these things that she has to go through that Gillian's better place to talk about than I. And Aminda, the creator of the script, the original script with Arthur, really wanted her to be seen in certain lights and not use tropes and not have it be a pity party. Like, this woman's strong and awesome. I kind of want to be like her. Like, she's awesome because of who she is and what she does. Not, she's not defined. She's defined by her actions, and that's what we wanted to tell, to show.
And you did it perfectly. And when I watched the film, all I saw of Sonia was this strong woman, literally taking no prisoners in life. She knows she has a disability. She knows how other people react, but she holds her head up, and she holds her head up, with great pride in a way, and is going to tackle life no matter what it's going to bring, because she is as equal and as powerful to anyone else on the planet. And I love that. And I really pulled that from this film. And
We did
Jillian,
our
I want to
part.
ask you, because, being a person of color with a disability in this film, both areas are very underrepresented in the media. What do you hope this film will achieve in that area?
I mean, I hope that, I mean, I always hope with things that I do or put myself into that there's a new perspective, a new outlook on what people see, what is perceived, the stereotypes that are unfortunately given. And hopefully this will create opportunity, for people out there to, you know, in the workplace, give jobs and feel seen and feel heard. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I hope that people get, to learn something new and to go back home thinking I had this perspective on what, these type of people lived, or yeah, and now I see something different, and I see it in a newer light. And that's all that we can ask for.
Well, what kind of what do you want with people with disabilities who will see this, who will eventually see
Yeah.
this film? What do you want them to take from it?
That we see you, we hear you, and we love you, and you are as part of this community as a whole, as anybody, you know? And you should not let anyone dictate who you are. You can only dictate who you are.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people need to realize too that looking back, the late Stephen Hawkins, what he achieved. So
Yeah.
all things are possible, and
Anything.
you just got to put yourself out there. But to both of you, uh, how did you direct? This is for you, Nathan and Jillian. How to portray to the viewers to understand that a person with disabilities can date and have sex?
Speaking
I,
from personal experience. Go ahead, Nathan. That was me trying to
Do
be funny.
tell.
no, I think start it with you, Jillian, and then I'll come in after. So it's a very different
um,
perspective.
no, I think that's a good point because unfortunately I had to learn it the hard way that I could have never understood why people, had this misconception of us not partaking in this beautiful human experience that we all, eventually one day do. Um, you know, and it was very, very, very I think a harsh reality for me to understand that people do have this mindset. Speaking from personal experience with family and trying to sit them down and say, no, we deserve to have love. We deserve to have this experience as well. And having a disability is just a part of who I am. It's like having brown hair or blue eyes. It's just a part of you. It doesn't define you. And I think that's really important for people to understand that we also love having that experience. And it's the most purest experience to have, I think, as a human being in this world. And love is love. It doesn't matter how it looks like, it doesn't matter how it feels like. It's just, it is what it is. And we also deserve to have that experience.
Yeah, and I saw that in the film. I guess it was towards the end where both are standing on the sidewalk, and Sonia is saying, "Well, I'm very busy," and I guess that was probably putting up the protection mode up very very quickly, and then he's trying to be very sincere and wanting to go on another date, and there was a sweetness to it, but there was a realism to it as well, especially from your reaction and real life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Sonia definitely had this, letting her guard down, understanding that this guy really saw her, really wanted to like be a part of her world. And I think that Sonia has had a lot of moments of survival where she's had to like put tons of layers and tons of walls up so that she can live as authentically of her experience as she could. And unfortunately, with the society that we live in, it's really hard for someone like myself and Sonia to, follow a career they really want to follow or do the things that they really care for without having the mindset of an ableist person, and how to navigate that in the world where both worlds can exist. So I think in that part, Sonia had that realization, like, you know what? I live my life to the fullest and I deserve to have this. I deserve to have this love because this person wants to be a part of me. Even through all of the adventures that happened during that day, this person still is here. And that's really important.
Very much so. And Nathan, for you as a director, how was it filming this short film in the areas of, let's say, just dating and that opening scene of both of them in bed?
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that opening scene. I sort of come from a world of I've made a lot of documentary and stuff. So for me, like didn't know this world very well. I still don't know it that well, but I'm learning every day. But so I had Aminda alongside me working as a director's attachment, and it's based on her life. So I would be constantly like, are we getting the gaze right? Is the camera in the right place? Blah blah blah. It's just the right tone. So I really wanted the tone. I wanted her to be strong and powerful. And there's some shots that I've just cut around because I knew people would, with our animal brains and the way we visualize things and translate them, people would perceive things as weakness. So I was really trying very hard to make her just powerful and strong, no matter where she was and what she was doing. So it was done with a lot of intent. Yeah, I love that opening scene. It's really fun.
Yeah, and you did it well. I will say that
Thank you.
you did it well. And I guess I can say you did it in a very respectful way as well, because, you know, I think in cinema, when a perceived sex scene is shot, I think a lot of times I kind of like going back to the old way of Hollywood back into the 50s, to where a man and a woman walk into a room and the door closes and that's it. Let the viewer have the imagination, and not necessarily have to show anything, but in a way, you kind of did that here as well, because for a split second when I started watching it, I didn't have a clue that Sonia had a disability. So you filmed it to where the viewer is going to get a gradual surprise, and then you're like, wow. So you got the eye, man. You got the eye.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And then I'm glad that come across, because that was the goal, to be like, oh, it's just awkward. And then you're like, oh, hang about. There's something else happening here. So
Well,
I'm really pleased to come across.
this question is for both of you as well. And I did find it odd that the two women on the bus had such a strong in-your-face exchange with Jillian's character. What was the goal with this tense exchange?
I think that comes from, and during script editing, that was taken out for a while, and I made sure it got put back in. But that's based on real life. I lived in London a long time. I remember London's a beautiful city with beautiful people, but there are, like all big cities, there's the odd rascal. Let's face it. And I remember once I was surrounded by 12, 13-year-old kids threatening to beat me up unless I gave them money. And it's a really weird situation when everyone's this high and you're like, there's a lot of them. So, and I know Aminda had situations like this on the bus. And when we were script editing, it would be like, is this real? Is this realistic? And it was shocking to me. So then I thought, oh, that's really important to get it out there. And it's quite a London, I'm in New York now, and I remember I did script readings with people in New York, and they were like, that wouldn't happen. I was like, yeah, it would.
The thing that I picked up from the two women on the bus was this sense of, and what we see in society today, this sense of entitlement that you have the right to be disrespectful, to be a troll, to be ugly to other people, instead of just showing respect, kindness. It takes the same amount of effort. So I was like, whoa, why do people continue to act like this? But Jillian, have you ever had an exchange like that in real life?
Yeah. I grew up in New York. Yeah, yeah. I love New York, as Nathan very beautifully started what he was saying as well. I think specifically people who have disabilities, or visible ones for that matter, there's a lot of people who don't humanize us, who think that questions like, for example, what happened to you is an appropriate question to ask, because I see it as a way of, I don't think if someone who was non-disabled would have that question asked to them on a constant basis. If someone chooses to rock pink hair, I don't think they get the question of why do you have pink hair. But I've have had, unfortunately, that happen to me, not in this kind of way, but in a very inappropriate kind of question kind of way, where just people don't humanize us. They think it's okay to ask these questions for their benefit, other than just Googling it.
I'm more like
internet nowadays.
Yeah, because I'm more like, keep your mouth shut, because I was trying to put myself in the place of the two women, and I'm sitting here watching the film, and I was like, wait a minute, if I was sitting there, my reaction would have been, and knowing that you backed over my bag and whatever was in the bag that we hear a crunch, I wouldn't have been offended. I would have looked at it like, my fault. I left it in the way, because she needs a place to put her wheelchair on this bus. I would have taken it myself as, my dumb move, and I would have actually apologized. for
Yeah,
putting the
no, I
bag
mean
there.
there could have been so many different scenarios. I mean, honestly, it could have been a whole different fight, but I think the argument was more of an attacking of this person's disability, of Sonia's disability, rather than the bag that was ruined.
Right. And, one of the things that I also picked up was with Sonia's reaction, at first it seemed defensive,
Hmm.
which I could understand, but I love this part of this film. But when then she says to the two women, "What is wrong with you?" To me, that right there was the perfect line to reverse the roles. Was that the intention, Nathan?
Oh yeah, and she uses some pretty colorful language too, and that's I call that scene Sonia's fight scene, because that's when she gets up. She's like, "No, I'm not putting up with this," and that was a pretty intense thing to film for Jillian. I think it was a pretty fraught shoot day, um, and add to that intensity. Yeah, and yeah, I call it the fight scene. She's really swinging.
And and it really kind of, I don't know, maybe I just I grew up being taught what manners are, opening the door for the lady. If you're walking down the sidewalk, she walks on the inside, not near the curb. So so when I looked at the exchange in the bus, I'm like, I just wish she would just hit them both. Because I'm like, we now live in a society where people are that freaking ugly, and some of them just need a smack upside the head.
I agree.
Yeah, Jillian's on my side here. But Nathan, what was it like to have your film selected for the Tribeca Film Festival?
Should I admit it? I cried. I shed a tear. Like
No.
when I got the actual notification, it was before the official announcement, and it was like 2 or 3 weeks. So that 2 or 3 weeks of not being able to tell anyone was really hard. And when the announcement happened, because I was like, they've made a mistake. When the actual announcement was official, I shed a little tear, which is, and I was kind of surprised at my reaction. I was like, well, this means a lot, and it's so encouraging and surprising and exciting, and yeah, it means this film took so much hard work, so it's really gratifying on so many levels. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize how much work actually goes into a short film. They think about these 50, $100 million full featured films, but I look at the short film as it's a work of art because you're working with such a very short medium, and you have to tell a absolute complete story and get the point across. And you have done this uh, absolutely fantastic, and Jillian does add that super element to it.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Thank you.
So I understand that, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to realize how incredible this is to have your film selected for Tribeca. There were over 8,000 um, submissions placed, and to be chosen, it's a very, very high honor. And not only that, this is Oscar qualifying as well, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Exactly. And I think you have a very strong chance. So amongst the three of us, we should envision the golden statue for next year in 2024. And my eyes are up here. What an incredible film. And for both of you, what is next?
I mean, you just said it.
The Oscar. I love it. That I love that vision. I love that. That's what we need to have. We need to have that much faith.
Yeah, and we're working on the possibility of bringing this out to a series. There's been interest in that, which
Yeah.
is really exciting. I've got a couple of other projects, a couple of feature films that I'm working on. So as soon as I'm finished there, I'm back in my writing cave and get back on to like new projects and try and use this as a platform to to make better and bigger things and just keep on going.
Well, you both have extremely bright futures ahead of you. And Jillian, I know that you'll continue to act. Are you still within the fashion world?
I certainly am. It's like my baby. I'll never, she's my first love.
Well, fashion and film go hand in hand because the most asked question on the red carpet is, what are you wearing? And, but hey, I'm sure that that's what they're going to be asking at Tribeca and all of the next film festivals. And hopefully, and you got to promise me, if you end up on the Oscar short list, you both have to come back.
I would love to. Yeah.
Easy.
For several reasons. Yeah. Guaranteed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you get the opportunity to see this incredible short film, My Eyes Are Up Here, well, it's a must-see film for all of us for multiple reasons. This phenomenal short film can be seen at Tribeca Film Festival on June 11th, 14th, and 17th. And Jillian and Nathan, again, much success to both of you. I look forward to having you back. And again, maybe there's an Oscar in both of your futures. And ladies and gentlemen, as for me, I will see you next time right here on the Ward Bond Show, as well as Bond on Film.